Alright, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel at Doing It Yourself. Today we're doing a 2003 Polaris Sportsman 700 switch assembly. Your kill switch is that, your override, and your light switch. I've already got it taken apart. You'll see in the end, if you actually just watch it in reverse, you can figure out how to take it apart. It's not hard, but just be extra careful when you do, because the little springs and little copper pieces in there, they will go flying everywhere on you. Let's take it apart, slide it off the handlebar as a whole, and go from there. Anyways, a little blue piece will slide right in there. That's just your indicator saying you got it and your brights on. And here I'm just showing you the orientation of the kill switch. You'll see that little bar in there, like a little bridge between the front of the switch and the back of the switch. That goes towards the top when you slide it back together, just like that. That way that little bridge slides in that slot right there that you see just below the red. When he's doing the light switch, you're going to use the larger of the two mid-size springs. There's two really small springs that go in the kill switch, and then there are two mid-size springs that are almost the same length, but one is a little bit longer than the other. You're going to use a longer of the two for this. You need two of the little copper connectors. They kind of look like staples. You're going to use the little ball bearing. That's your detent, and the spring. You slide the spring down in there. It's easier if you do this with it actually mounted on the part, so you could actually slide the switch into its position and then slide the ball down, and then the spring, and then the two, I'll just call them staples. But you can do it like I'm doing here as well. So there's one. Just kind of checking it for action there. Almost forgot to put the second one in. Put the second one in, and as you go, you're going to constantly check these switches, make sure they're functioning properly. Last thing you want to do is get it all back together, mount it back on your quad, and have something bound up where it's just not working or making good connection. On the logic board is what I'll call it there, the circuit board rather, the white thing you saw there in the background, I cleaned that up with electrical cleaner. I would suggest you do it too, just so you get good connections everywhere, no grease or dirt or anything affecting your connections. Here's the override switch, just showing you where the spring and the little staple go. You don't put those in yet, but I'm just going to show you where they'll go. Anyways, it's a little tricky getting the large spring that's in here. You got to get it compressed and get it to snap down inside of the housing there. There's nothing that actually holds it except for the pressure itself, which is directly back behind, obviously, the yellow override button against a little plastic wall that's on the inside of the housing. So there's no clip, no nothing, just the pressure of the spring itself is what keeps it in place. So it's a little tricky there. Anyways, you can put your spring in, and you'll see right over top of it, your staple goes. Move that on and get ready for the kill switch. Two little tiny springs, they go in the circular parts right in the middle. And you'll see these little copper connection pieces, how they're oriented, reverse their orientation. And you'll see with the little cutouts on the bottom. This is the tricky part though. When you slide those in there, you got to keep that switch and those springs compressed against the white circuit board there as you put the circuit board down into place. So I had one of the springs kind of wanting to pop out a little too far, so I was pushing the copper connector out a little bit, so I had to use my little tool there to kind of convince it to stay in place and go down in place. So here, it's just, it almost snaps together without snapping together, if you want to say. It'll hold itself, but it's not really a click snap type of operation. And I'm just checking the buttons for functionality. The override is working. Checking everything over, make sure everything looks straight. There's nothing jiggling around inside of it before I go ahead and force it all the way down. Checking to make sure the light switch is working. It's good to go. Kill switch is functioning as it's supposed to, at least for the time being, until we actually test it out on the bike. Then here you put your housing, the other half the housing back on it. It's pretty self-explanatory on that. I mean, it can really only go on there one way. So slide it on there. Make sure you get a good seal. Something I didn't do, but you could possibly do. If you're gonna do it, I mean, I'm talking a very, very, very small amount of silicone around it just to help seal it up. I'm not super concerned with it getting totally wet. It might get a little wet, but the standard little lips in there should be fine. But you can, for peace of mind, put a tiny little silicone in there, but you gotta be real careful to where it doesn't make your switches stick. Anyway, snap it back together. Again, making sure all your switches function as they're supposed to, have the right sounds to them. With the light switch there, you want to make sure it clicks in place. And then you got 3 screws that go right in those 3 holes. Boom, just like that. Don't over tighten these. I'm just very lightly using the drill here. You over torque them, you will strip them out and or crack your case, or both. Anyways, I got the connections cleaned up earlier prior to filming. There's 2 little flat connectors here. They were pretty cruddy, so I got those all sprayed out with electrical cleaner. Then I used compressed air, blew them out. Obviously, if your grip is in the way, you'd have to cut your grip off or slide it off somehow. Get it out of the way. This one, I got lucky. It actually didn't have a grip on it when I got the quad in. Anyway, take your Allen key, tighten that screw in the back, the set screw, tighten it up, and give it a test. Here I'm turning it on. Hitting the kill switch. Boom. It goes off. That's what it should do. Put it back over, flip it. Kill switch is working. We'll try it the other way to make sure the alternate way is working, and it works too. Won't be able to test the override out until I get the bike all put back together. Right now it's in quite a few pieces, you can't tell, but I'll have videos later on. Carb is pulled out, a bunch of other stuff's off it right now. Anyways, here we're just checking the lights, making sure they work. Everything's good to go. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and keep at doing it yourself. Thanks for watching.